Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the U-Talk Show. As one of the cesspits of scum and villainy on the internet, we of course keep abreast of Twitter, where it turns out our old friend John Barilaro is trending. For those of you who still understand how a fax machine operates, what this means is that a lot of people are talking about John Barilaro. And so the question that we have to ask is, why? After all, did he not resign in disgrace some time ago? So, to bring you up to speed, since then, about a week ago, uh, journalist Jordan Shanks revealed that he had obtained recordings of John Barilaro basically admitting to being corrupt, and specifically that demonstrated that Barilaro's argument before the courts in a civil defamation matter was untrue. This means that, actually, you know what? Was Barilaro libs or Nats? Help me out
Hats.
here, would you, Kyle?
Nats. But I mean, look, they're the same
Nats.
party. It's just one wears hats.
Yeah, in either case, having a proven history of being a liar and lying in front of a court doesn't actually diminish your political future when you are a member of a political party, nay, a political system that rewards corruption at every single level. So, the other thing that is related to this is that you may recall former Premier of New South Wales, Gladys Berejiklian, was being investigated by the Independent Commission Against Corruption in relation to dealings that she'd had before her time as Premier, and I think partially into her time as Premier, regarding an improper relationship. The ICAC has declined to release those findings until after the New South Wales election is done, fearing that they may unduly influence the outcome of an election by revealing, wouldn't you know it, that one party has a shitload of crime and criminality going on and shouldn't be trusted. Which
If
begs the
anything
question.
should impact an election, it is this. This is information voters need to know about their voting options. This is exactly what should be influencing an election, is whether or not allegations of corruption are true. This finding is not only needed by voters, but it is directly one of the things that voters should be voting on, is whether or
I'd
not a
argue,
political party can be trusted while in office to not be a corrupt organization,
but
a
let's look at the other side
pool
of the coin here
of
for a moment.
pork barrel. Is there another side to this coin?
Yes, there absolutely is. Because let's say that a smear campaign is conducted against a candidate. They are alleged to have been involved in corrupt activities. An ICAC report clearing their name would just as surely be important, would it not?
Yes.
In any case, the ICAC here is stinking of moral cowardice.
Yes. This is ridiculous.
But why?
It's ridiculous because in either case, this is information that voters need. We don't just vote based on policies. I mean, to be honest, 80% of people don't vote based on policies because 80% of people don't know what the bloody policies are. But what
And
we should be voting is not just
60% of
on
people don't
policies.
read.
I'd argue more, but let's be optimistic. So this is exactly what voters should be voting on, is whether or not a government can be trusted, not just to keep its promises, not just to have good policies, but to not abuse their office for personal gain or for the gain of their political donors. And
I
that's
feel like
exactly
the
what the Liberal
why.
and Nationals have done in government in New South Wales for 12 years.
Okay, I was
this
prepared
government
for a
is
rant, but we've
worse than Joe Bioki Peterson's. That's how incredible the level of corruption is
fun
here.
fact,
The amount
fun
of
fact.
pork barreling.
Joe
We're just
Bjelke
not hearing
Peterson
about
was
it.
running for PM at one point.
Yes, he was.
Joe
Sort
Bjelke
of.
Peterson wanted to become prime minister. No, it wasn't sort of. He was gearing up a campaign, Joe for Canberra. And
Okay,
I
he
feel
was.
like he was ahead of his time in the amount of staggering corruption that he was planning to bring to federal politics. He was a true visionary, and that
Oh,
isn't a
God.
compliment. But the question why that I was asking wasn't actually about why we want to know if these people are corrupt. That, on the face of it, seems obvious. It is a very, very old legal principle dating back to antiquity that if you need to determine the guilt of a party or the nature of a crime that has happened, the first question you must ask yourself is cui bono? To whom the benefit? It is very obvious in the case of Barilaro. He was upfront about it. He alleged to want to secure the best outcomes for his base of voters, his electorate, and that's to a certain extent reasonable. But it is less obvious within an independent commission against corruption who stands to benefit from failing to disclose whether or not there has been a criminal level of corruption in a matter. So we have to ask, is the independence of the Independent Commission Against Corruption threatened by other forces?
They've branch stacked every other department. Like literally, they've stacked every other department with cronies from the Murray-Darling Basin Authority, who have actually aided in the water theft in the Murray-Darling that has been taking place primarily by cotton farmers and
Hey, at
foreign
least it's not
firms that
Nestle.
speculate. Oh God, I don't get me started about them. There's that. Then there's Transurban. The severe amount of pork barreling that has gone into the West Connects project, and how essentially the public has paid for toll roads and paid an enormous price.
And then pay again with that tiny little
Yeah,
biddlip every time you drive through.
yeah. So and also the way to fix that not, and I will absolutely attack the Labour Party here as well, because they have committed to this exact same thing. So both Liberal and both the coalition of Liberal and Nationals and Labour have committed to subsidising that. So instead of just paying outright, it's now also our tax dollars that are paying for us to use this. It's our tax dollars that built it. It's our tax dollars that are paying for it. And then after that, the unsubsidized portion is paid directly by us. And this was the most expensive project, I think, in political history in Australia. The Harbour Bridge didn't cost this much.
In fairness, a dollar got you a lot further back then. We have to consider
even adjusted for inflation,
the value of currency.
Even adjusted for inflation, it's nowhere close. I actually, someone's done the math on this. I don't remember the exact figures, but it's nowhere close.
Okay, perhaps we can link that, because
yes, we'll link that.
That's actually horrifying, and I've not heard of that, and I'm very interested to check that maths myself.
It's insane. And I actually this is a good point actually by Friendly Geordies.
Journalist Jordan Shanks mentioned earlier.
Yeah. And he said the Burj Khalifa cost about $5 billion. West Connects was 40. The Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world, an engineering marvel. It is like
a marvel.
Well, it's the tallest building in the world. And they really had, I've actually seen a breakdown of the engineering of that building. It's pretty intense. I'm not an engineer, But breaking it down into simple terms, I was able to understand just how difficult it was to build a building that tall. And that cost $5 billion. WestConnex cost $40 billion in public money. Like the
That
original
is an
estimate
unfair
for it.
comparison, Kyle. That is an unfair comparison.
How is that an unfair comparison?
Well, for a start, earth moving is expensive, and they've had to do a crap ton of it. Like driving a tunnel boring machine underground.
The original estimate was 15 billion.
So it's still three
went
times the Burj Khalifa because of
166.
all the earth moving and all of the long
But
distance expansion.
That's still 166% over budget. And
that is a different problem entirely, as well, because these firms are trying to tender for jobs by offering the lowest possible projected price. They are incentivized to lie about the realistic cost of projects. Like, there is an entirely different problem space there as well. Like, this entire thing is just a giant nightmare stacked on multiple levels of failure.
And we need a new tender process. We need it to work differently. We need an independent assessment of how much it will cost. And then the tender process should not be strictly about cost, but rather it should be about quality and how
liability for cost runovers.
Yeah, and how the how the individual firm or company can how they seek to mitigate any holdups. It should be about how efficient they can be and how well planned out their version of the project is. See, a lot of people just think about money, think about things in monetary terms, when really we need government to be thought about in more than monetary terms. Government is more than just X amount of dollars. Government is services, which have been all but privatized under the current New South Wales government, such as the Royal the Northern Beaches Hospital, which was given to HealthScope, a company registered in the Cayman Islands, and who lowered the costs by cutting down on staff, forcing doctors to work 104-hour weeks, and their own staff gave them a score on patient quality of care of 0. That's how bad that got. Then with everything that this government has done has been a major fuck up. And
okay, I'm going to stop you there, Kyle. I'm going to stop you there because we are hitting on time, but that is kind of the point of this that I think we need to hit on. Like, there's your emphatic declaration. Everything this government has done has been a major fuck up. Like, we need to circle back to this original question. Why are people talking about Barilaro?
Because everything he's done has been corrupt and a fuck up. He destroyed
basically he has
National
gone on
Park
record, right?
Wild Horse Heritage Bill. He's destroyed our native rainforests by increasing land clearing by 1,300% in just a few years. The carbon offsets for supposedly not clearing land is a scam in of itself. Everything. There's too much to talk about in a 15-minute episode. We've already run over time, and I haven't even gotten halfway through it.
This is why I'm trying to finish on this emphatic point, because I think our old mate Jordan Shanks actually really did just stumble upon it on how he's phrased this. We have a recording of the then Honourable John Barilaro saying, "You can have it all in New South Wales. You can have it all."
And boy,
you can have it
all the corruption in the world.
You can have it all if you happen to be connected, if you happen to be willing to sacrifice your principles for a few favors from mates. You really can have it all, as long as you're willing to fuck everyone else in the process. Like,
precisely,
this is what the state of New South Wales has voted for.
Whatever the hell they want, as long as you have no moral fiber at all.
That may be dangerously close to defamation.
Everything.
I've heard allegations that the formerly Honourable Barilaro does in fact have some moral fiber. I think it was something to do with his diet. Look,
And I
right
think with
now,
that,
we are
we'll
not
end
taking
it.
a position on who you should vote for. We're just not. Because all of the candidates we have their own flaws and foibles. But I think at this point we can definitely commit to Jesus Christ, just not these twats again, please. Please. We only have so much breath to describe how staggeringly, criminally incompetent and corrupt they are.
People thought Eddie Obeid was bad. People thought Joe Bioki Peterson was bad. This is worse than that. Just we've run way over time, so we have to end it now.
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh,
cut off, and I think you need a cup of tea, mate. You need a
I
cup of
do.
tea. Get
I
get some
do.
Becks in ya.
All right. We'll see you later.
Ciao.